Hello, I'm Chris Oughton, Director of Kwinana Industries Council, and I'd like to draw your attention to some matters about our industrial buffer zone that have arisen over the last few months that we feel are quite serious. It's unfortunate, but the KIC has developed a perception of bias in relation to the outcomes of a number of state planning decisions over the past 10 years. These have given rise to decisions that compromise the integrity of the industrial buffer zone, and companies are located in the industrial area because of the buffer zone and the protection it affords them. For long-term sustainability, and that's real jobs, industry in Kwinana is highly dependent on the buffer zone that is strongly protected from encroachment by urban development, except it's not. We're seeing pressure to have the buffer zone rezoned to accommodate urban growth. And that's what I want to talk about today. You may have observed recent media attention directed towards the motivations behind political party donations and corporate gifts or hospitality to state elected representatives and public servants. This recent attention has been largely focused on the property development industry, but not entirely. The reporting considers the likelihood of the perception that donors seek to acquire favourable decisions or to improperly influence. It's been revealed that a similar perception on the Australian East Coast has resulted in the creation of laws to ban donations from certain industry sectors, focusing most attention on property developers, to be specific. The eastern states' laws were enacted because they believe there have been issues, or at least the perception of issues, of inappropriate influence being applied to elected politicians and public servants. Why else would the legislators have made it a criminal offence on the eastern seaboard? The bottom line is this: it's illegal over there, yet legal here. But it's the same stuff, so who's right and who's wrong? The provision of corporate hospitality, gifts, political donations and sponsorships, either directly or indirectly, is legal in WA. But is it right and proper? Does it pass the pub test? Those in receipt of the benefits are legally required to disclose those benefits. We know where this originally started, and it harks back to the days of WA Inc. So does the declaration system work? Well, Directors General of government departments have to declare the receipt of gifts and hospitality they receive from any parties, including property developers. Fair enough. But if someone like you or I want to inspect their declarations, we have to pay a fee and make an application under the Freedom of Information Act. As citizens, we rely on dependable, consistent, transparent, rules-based statutory planning processes for delivering sound and ethical planning decisions. But what if you think the process that you rely on is delivering planning outcomes that are flawed or curious? What if you think something else undisclosed is going on? Perhaps you could be forgiven if you formed a view that the system is weighted in favour of those who might provide donations, gifts or hospitality to planning decision makers. That's why the other states banned it. As the old saying goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So here's the issue. Late last year, a planning decision to approve a residential subdivision that partly encroached into the industrial buffer zone was announced. Yet around 6 years earlier, the same development was refused by the West Australian Planning Commission. The developer, that's their right, challenged the decision and they lost it on appeal at the State Administrative Tribunal. The developer then appealed to the Supreme Court and lost twice. And yet the Minister for Planning ultimately approved the development just before Christmas. All these were statutory legal processes, and all agreed there was too much uncertainty due to the proximity of industry for the proposed homes to be put there. This whole perception of bias needs to be fixed, And so in an effort to resolve this perception, KIC has written to our Premier with a set of requests. The primary request out of the 7 is in regard to a legislated ban on property developers and their lobbyists making or facilitating political donations, as in the case in Queensland and New South Wales. The second point is in regard to state departmental gift registers, which are only available, as I said, to view via FOI applications. So we want that there be a real-time disclosure on government websites of all gifts provided by developers, directly and indirectly, to government officers and politicians at all levels of government, just like local governments have to do. The remaining 5 points are available on our website. So here's the crux of the problem. Kwinana Industries Council has a serious question for every planning decision maker to reflect upon. What is the point of having a statutory planning process with transparent statutory appeal processes if a minister can simply overturn properly made decisions? What do you think?